All right, hey everybody, it's Ryan Saplin here, your personal trainer. Could be powerlifting, could be human movement. I'm just a coach, and I'm here to help you if you'd like to learn more about getting better at strength training, whether it be from me or stuff that I learned from other people that I'm sharing on my channel. In this case, I'm going over the seminar I went to. It's Stan Efferding and Dan Green over at Boss Barbell on May 31st, which was today. It's today I'm making this video. And I wrote a bunch of notes. Like a ton of notes. So you can see this on the camera here. I got a ton of pages on here. I'm going to just kind of regurgitate all my notes and see if I can kind of recall some stuff. I want to keep the information fresh in my head, so that way I can make more content, make more specific videos that are a little bit more detailed. Of course, I'm going to type all this stuff out, put it on my deadliftnerd.com blog, and just share the information for two reasons. One, to help people out there that might want to learn from a different perspective, and two, to help me keep the information fresh in my mind, because when I teach something, I learn better. So Dan Green, Stan Efferding, and Creed, the world's greatest spotter, as they said. Creed's pretty jacked. He's a dude that trains with Stan, and they work out together. They travel around meeting a lot of different people, world-class powerlifters, strength training, and bodybuilders and whatnot. World-class coaches and athletes. Excuse me. Okay, so let's take a look here. Going over my notes, Stan started off at 98 pounds in high school. He wrestled at 115 pounds as a senior. This dude is fucking jacked. If you look at my blog, I'm gonna have a picture. If you check my Instagram, there's a picture next to me. I'm next to him, and he's like 275. I'm freaking I'm a 195 pound person. The dude is like freaking twice my size. It's ridiculous. Anyways, he's a degree in exercise science. He said in the seminar, we're just going to reaffirm what you probably already know, and we're just going to help you learn to prioritize things. So he's going to give basically a global perspective on kind of his view on nutrition and training. Frequency and intensity is basically the two main things. Everything else is pretty much a distraction. He kind of goes into detail of kind of what he did in his kind of personal business life, so that he give a little bit knowledge about him. He was successful in real estate, and when the real estate crashed, he went into create an engineering firm, which he currently runs. He also owns a medical marijuana business, which he's launching. I think he owns a gym in Seattle as well. He moved, some stuff he talked about was he moved to train with Flex Wheeler when he was training for his pro bodybuilding card. He spent the summer with Ed Cohn, greatest powerlifter of all time. Spent a summer training with him. Moved over to super training in Sacramento to train with Mark Bell when he wanted to try to beat the Raw record at 275 pound weight class. He trains with the best guys, travels all around the world, really training with people. And this is kind of interesting, because this is what when you have the ability to do that, I think you should. Because you get to learn from the best. I mean, what else is there? If you have the opportunity or the flexibility, whether you're young or old, whether you have the financial means, or maybe you don't have a lot of obligations and you're young, take advantage of being able to train in other places. I mean, I would really love to go over to supertraining.tv over in Sacramento, and you can call it an excuse, because if I really made the time, I could probably make it out there. But the reality is, I have to make a living. I got to work, and I got a family, and I got to, gotta do stuff for my family. So gotta be around my family. Work takes a lot of my time, but whenever I get the chance, if I ever do, I'm gonna head out there and really train. It's not really that far from me. I'm basically like 45 minutes. Anyways, let's go see here. He trained with Charles Glass. I don't know who that is. Frank Colombo, or maybe Dave Colombo. I'm not exactly sure. Sorry if I get these names wrong. I'm just kind of regurgitating the notes. They were talking really fast. There was a lot of information. He talked about how he represents nobody. He has no supplement company behind him. No one is paying him. So all his information is basically his own personal opinion, his own biases. So there's nothing that's swaying him in any specific direction when it comes to making nutrition recommendations. Let's go see here. They talked about things being the same stuff. When they traveled all along, meeting all these high-level athletes and training with them. Ed Cohn, over there, Mark Bell Super Training, all the guys that he trains with, Flex Wheeler. It's all the same thing. It's hard work. There's no secret. There is no secret. And I think the one thing that he said a lot of the time was that a lot of people spend a lot of time on the 1%. That's the small things that really don't that make that much of a difference. Trying to look for that secret way to get the most out of their training when most of it comes out of sleep, eat, and train. That's it. That's basically where most of your training, most of your results is going to come from. That's where you should spend all your time and focus. And the one thing he said about all these people, this is actually what Creed said. Creed was pretty good. He was a really good presenter. He talked about kind of training experience, training with Stan and meeting other people, is that that dude was freaking jacked, fucking huge. All these guys, you know, he had, like Flex Wheeler and, you know, they talk about George Lehman, training with George Lehman, is that they have a savage, they were savage, that's the word they use. They have a burning desire, a consuming passion. He talked about meeting a bodybuilder. He didn't mention the guy's name, but he said that, you know, if someone told me I had to eat bricks to be successful, to be a pro bodybuilder, I would eat bricks. And kind of interesting, like they use Dan Green as an example of kind of like that, having that burning desire, that savage desire, and that came from, you know, Brandon Lilly went on, you know, that time when he hurt his knee, busted his knee, right, and he took a spill, and he's injured, and then Dan Green was set to go on in 20 minutes. And then Dan Green was not phased at all. He just went on, did his job, and broke another record. You know, you got to have that kind of it factor, that savage desire, that switch in your head where nothing else matters. And it was kind of motivating. You know, thinking about it, you forget like how much focus. You know, you look at other training programs like Johnny Candido's, Wendler 531. Conjugate method, you know, Westside Barbell, all kinds of different programs. It's at the end of the day, it's really just training hard, right? I mean, of course, there's always smarter approaches, but there is no magic solution. All solutions they basically all work. You got to have a sound approach, but understand that it's all hard work. Okay, going into nutrition, there's very few research studies out there that really apply to athletes when it comes to nutrition. It's kind of all over the board, right? Everyone has a different viewpoint on things. Like George Lehman, they use as an example, 900-pound deadlifter, super strong guy, right? He's eating ho-hos and cupcakes and a bunch of junk food, right? He's strong, he's jacked, and he's big, right? And then, you know, Stan has his own approach. Everyone kind of gets there when they're an athlete trying to train hard. They basically just do what they can to get the calories they need. And kind of going a little bit more is that promote their product. A lot of the time, you know, a lot of nutrition, the nutrition industry or the idea of nutrition has been hijacked by companies, right? They're trying to sell you products. This is a lot of things that, you know, Juggernaut Fitness, Jason Blaha talks about. And he says that they promote the products and they're basically hijacked by these corporations that are trying to make money. Now, my general stance on supplements is like, I think they have their place. I just know that they're a small percentage of your overall results, which is kind of why I'm not saying, oh, you need to take this supplement. You actually have to know what you're missing in order to have something really benefit. Like if you're not getting enough protein, you're going to benefit from taking a protein supplement. If you're not getting enough vitamin D, you're going to benefit from taking a vitamin D supplement. But you don't know until you track your stuff. He said that you can find anything on the internet, anything out there, information. There's just a vast amount of information out there where you can get anything to support your cause. Fish oil is bad for you. Fish oil is good for you. Carbs are bad for you. Carbs are good for you. Fat is good for you. Fat is bad for you. It's all out there. It's on the intent. It's about the intent of the information. I don't know what that means. Just reading my notes. Low fat versus high fat argument. His information is really based presuming that you're athletes. You know, you got to understand that a lot of times when you talk about nutrition, sometimes you got to realize that for people that are athletes, that train hard, nutrition principles and rules apply different to you than normal population. And I forget that sometimes. Says here, don't work as a babysitter. Or he doesn't work as a babysitter. He doesn't like training regular people. Trains athletes only. Everybody wants to put labels on foods, like good or bad. There are no good foods. There are no bad foods. It's using the food as a tool to get you to where you want to be, to make you a better machine, a better, stronger version of you. Cholesterol-based animal fats, that's what he was talking about, because cholesterol is extremely important for men and women to synthesize proper hormones, like testosterone. Kind of having he talked about intensity in training. You got to have the same intensity in nutrition. They have the blood work every 2 or 3 months. That's what him and Creed do all the time to make sure. He said all professional athletes that he trains with, they get their blood work very regularly to see what they're doing to their body, to see if things are moving in a positive or negative direction. You have to train your metabolism. There's a really cool story they talk about Creed, Stan trying to coach Creed with nutrition, and he was eating like a standard bodybuilder diet, eating 6 meals a day, chicken and rice, whatever, fish and rice, right? And then he just told him, why don't you just eat 6 eggs with every single meal? And it was kind of an interesting story. That means 36 eggs per day. And then 72 eggs so he would go to Costco every 2 days to buy 72 eggs. That's a shitload of food. And he did it. And it's really hard to eat all that food. He couldn't do it at first, but over time he was able to. And you got to realize that, when you're trying to get bigger, build muscle, get stronger, it takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. I even forget this. Oh man, I can't eat that much food, and then you're exaggerating, or I can't diet, or whatever the excuses that we make for not being able to do something, and then you forget that it takes time. You have to actually train. Just like I'm going to lift 600 pounds. That's my goal, deadlift by the end of the year. That's not going to happen overnight. It's a process of building up time and time, putting work in. I'm not going to be able to pull that next month, most likely. Same thing with nutrition. You're not going to eat all that food right away. You build a tolerance. Your metabolism adjusts. So I never think about, I just never thought of it like that, where my viewpoint is, okay, I need to adapt my body to get the 600-pound deadlift. I know that's going to take some time. But then also the other fact of being able to get to, being able to eat that much food so that you can get bigger and stronger. You're trying to build a machine to do more work. It takes time. That's what it says. Training and food. Okay, 80% of the calories you burn is at rest. I know that, but I forget. This is a good reminder. 80% of the calories you burn is going to come from doing nothing. It's your resting metabolism. So focus on improving your resting metabolism, and you do that by building muscle. Increase calorie burning. You can do that through training and diet. That means eating more calories, typically. Insulin shuttles nutrients into the muscle cells to kind of help build muscle, right? We know that. Vegetables impede ability to eat more food because of fiber. They minimize absorption, which is sort of interesting. I always think you should eat vegetables. Again, it depends on how you're training. Obviously, you can always argue that drug factor, but again, these are just my notes. The meta-analysis of all the studies. Well, this is what meta-analysis means. I learned this too. Meta-analysis means a study of all the studies. Is that we really don't know how good or bad food is to a certain degree. Like, is a lot of fat really bad for you? Is it gluten? Is it carbohydrates? We really don't know until you track. It's such an individual thing. Like he talked about comparing the United States to Japan. Japan has a better obesity rate. They have lower obesity rate, but their lifespan is only 3 years. So the only thing they really come to a conclusion when it comes to certain food, like pasta, gluten, clean foods, right? The only thing that really they come conclusions that if you're fat, it's very detrimental for your health. And if you're not fat, you're going to be healthy, or you're going to have a likelihood to live longer and perform better, which makes sense. Again, we spend so much time on the 1%. 99% of everything is going to come from sleep, nutrition, and training. Stan Efferding has a spreadsheet, tracks everything: his body weight every single day, his carbs, proteins, and fats, his calories, his training regime. He's obsessed, and that's kind of like what I need to be if I want to take it to the next level. Ridiculous discipline. What should I take? Okay, and the question he always gets asked about supplements is, what should I take? What should I eat? And it kind of depends on what you're missing, right? If you don't do blood tests, if you don't check your levels of vitamin D or whatever vitamins, how can you know what you need? It sort of doesn't make any sense, right? If you're missing creatine in your body, or you don't have enough creatine, you're going to benefit from having more creatine in your body. It's like one of those things. All athletes get their own blood work. I said that. None of them this was interesting. None of the top bodybuilders take their supplements, arguably. I mean, of course, they're under contract. I'm not going to name and point out, but a lot of these athletes don't take the supplement, or they don't really. They try not. I actually don't know. This is just what I heard. You got to understand that. I don't want to get into that. That's going to be bad. Because I really don't know. I don't want to make claims. It's a business. It's your body. A business is your body's basically a business. Are you getting bigger? Are you getting better? That's what your goal is. Are you getting better? That's your tracking point. If you're coming in the gym every single day and you're trying to lift weights, doing bench and squatting and overhead pressing, why are you doing it? Is it doing anything for you? Are you benefiting from it? Are you getting stronger? Are you making progress? Question you got to ask yourself. Talk about like how focused are you and how serious about your training. They talked about this really cool story with Ed Cohn and how Ed Cohn was his apartment was in New York, I think, was flooded with water in the basement, and he's walking around his parents and his wife who are trying to get all this water out of the basement, and he's walking past them with his gym bag to head to the gym, not even helping them. He gets to the gym, he does some squats, and he fucking shits in his pants. So he has to walk back home, and he has to walk around his family who's trying to get all this water out of their basement and take a shower, change his clothes, and go back to the gym immediately. It just kind of takes that kind of determination. Speed is a byproduct of strength. Little things that we all kind of probably know already. Sodium. This was probably the most interesting thing in the seminar about nutrition. And I'm going to kind of read line by line. I'm going to write more about this in a blog or make another video about it. There's no bigger benefit to an athlete than sodium. Water is good, but if you don't get enough sodium, you're not going to be able to stay hydrated properly, no matter how much water you drink. There's a huge benefit in strength sports. Blood volume decreases. Or blood volume decreases when your sodium is low. Iodized salt helps with thyroid problems in women. Drinking too much water stimulates more aldosterone, which makes your body want to secrete more water. Not enough salt causes water retention. And if you don't have enough sodium, you're going to have lower blood volume, which will decrease the amount of oxygen on your body. He recommended for 1 liter of water, for your body to retain 1 liter of to utilize 1 liter of water, you need to have 2 grams of sodium, or 2,000 milligrams. The sodium helps carbs get to where they need to go, like in the muscle cells. Increases blood volume, which increases oxygen, which I just said. Lowering energy. Low energy can come from lowering salt. That's usually the biggest thing. I always remember this. I think about kind of times I get these random headaches or not feeling too great. Because a lot of times I'll do intermittent fasting. And I was like, why do I have a headache? Well, probably because I didn't eat. Do I not have a headache because my carbs are low? Probably yes, but probably because of my it's not that just my carbs were low, but my salt was low, which affected my my water levels in my body, my hydration levels. Lack of salt causes water retention. Dehydration equals headache. If you're going to cut weight for meat, you want to cut water. Don't worry about trying to cut a bunch. Well, keep reading here. Headache due to dehydration, lack of salt. That's the reason why water without sodium is not going to be helpful. Makes your body just secrete more salt. This is an interesting topic. I'm actually studying more about this, and I'm going to make another video about sodium and salt and just relay the information, I'm just learning as much as everybody else. I'm just learning, wanting to improve my knowledge. I'm sharing it here. All right, continuing. Oh, this was a cool story. I'll leave a link in the description of this 900-pound squat that Stan Efferding did. It was kind of cool because I watched this video before I went to the seminar, and they mentioned it. It's like, I just watched that last night. And he's talking about how he had a squat over at Sacramento on a Saturday years ago, and he's mentally prepping on Thursday, so 2 days before. So how do you prep for a heavy day? Do you just go into the gym, you just lift? Thursday mental preparation, maybe he loses a little sleep trying to mentally prepare for the squat session. He sleeps, the sleep from Thursday and Friday and nutrition from Thursday and Friday preps him for Saturday. Creed was talking about how Stan was basically in kind of a stressed out mood. He's basically stressed out, worried, very quiet, not even talking to him, right? And then basically for 2 days, right, from they land on Thursday, and then getting over there to train a super training on Saturday, and then after he hit the 905 squat, he's like, "Oh, let's go to the movies." Hey, you want to go to the movies? Basically, he was totally relaxed. Basically, he was getting really focused for the lift, right, for the day. Use volume. You have to take yourself. Oh yeah, this is probably the best quote here. And if you're listening this far, I commend you because you're going to get some good information. You have to take yourself somewhere where you've never been. It's like washing the dishes. 10 hours a day, your mom washing the dishes 10 hours a day doesn't give her big arms. You have to take yourself where you've never been. When you see Dan squat and you see the bar stop, right? He's doing a front squat, pause squat, back squat, deadlift, and you see the bar stop and it grinds. That's intensity. That's him pushing. When you see George Lehman does a 45-second deadlift grinding through, that's intensity. You have to take yourself there, and it's scary. I hate taking myself there because I'm afraid of getting hurt. But if you want to make progress, that risk is there. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to get better. And I'm not saying that you should hurt yourself and you shouldn't know your limits, but I'm saying it's like, these guys at the highest level, I'm not trying to become a world-class athlete, but I want a piece of that, and I'm trying to understand kind of what goes into that. I love this stuff. They talked about Chuck Vogelpohl. They talked about mental preparation when it comes to training. What do you say? They said like Chuck Vogelpohl, very strong powerlifter, gets fired up, yelling at the bar, banging his head against the barbell, bleeding on his forehead. That's kind of how he gets ready. And then you look at someone like Eric Spoto, who's almost basically the complete opposite. If there's a lot of people around him, if there's a lot of people around him, it's going to get him nervous. It's going to make him so that he's going to basically perform like shit. The only way for him to perform was like nobody in the gym, or there's like 5 people in the gym, and they're all in the corner not watching him. It's the pressure gets to Eric Spoto. In case you don't know who Eric Spoto is, world-class powerlifter, bench press champion, 733 raw bench press, super strong. I saw him do 315 for like 30 reps, maybe 40 reps. Crazy. You can Google that on YouTube. That's pretty nuts. He just bangs them out like 135 pounds. And then Stan Efferding gets pumped up by the crowd. He likes that crowd. It pumps him up. George Lehman kind of goes for like a dark place. He goes to a dark place. He's crying, basically. And if you watch George's channel, you know kind of how dark he is, how he finds that inner strength to, lift heavy shit. Oh yeah, this is interesting too. That guys who are about 250 pounds, people who are big, either fat or muscular, have sleep apnea. It's almost a given. The thick neck, there's just so much muscle around their body. They have trouble breathing. They stop breathing at night. It's very important that you get a breathing machine if you do have sleep apnea. Otherwise, it's going to start messing with your recovery. All right, so next piece is on Dan Green training. And I think I'm going to make this a second video. So I'm going to go there.